All right, let's keep this moving with our next speaker. Coming all the way in from the north in Toronto, Canada, Peter Van Stralen has over 20 years of business success to his credit. This guy is a certified franchise executive and the visionary leader of Sunshine Brands, parent company to the Grounds Guys and the Sprinkler Guys franchise systems. He is also the author of the book C.A.R.E Leadership. He was recently featured on the hit Canadian television show Be the Boss Canada. Gainesville, give it up for Peter Van Stralen.
Good afternoon, Gainesville. I am learning, I'm energized, I'm pumped. How about you? Like you said, my name is Peter Van Stralen. I am one of the founders of a company called the Grounds Guys. I'm the author of a book called C.A.R.E Leadership. And I'm most proud of being the second brother of 10 brothers. That's right, that's all 10 of us. We started a business when I was 17, my brother was 18, and we had no money. We borrowed a little lawnmower off my dad and a trailer. We hitched it up to our car and off we went. We started this business very small. Today, we operate out of over 180 locations across North America. We were just listed for the second year in a row as the fastest growing company in the green industry. And people often ask us, so what is the secret to growth? This is a conference about growth, and I'm going to share that secret with you today. So Gallup did a survey, and they found that only 29% of the workforce in America is what they called engaged. That means the vast majority, 71% of the workforce, is disengaged. When I hear the word disengaged, these are people that don't care. They just learned what they need to do in order to not get fired. They're just filling in time. They're putting in 8 hours and they're going home. They're not helping you build and grow your businesses. They're just kind of like a ball and chain around the leg of your business. Of that 71%, 54% were just the run-of-the-mill disengaged. 17% Gallup found were what they called actively disengaged. These are people that are actively working against your efforts to build and grow your companies while on the payroll. They're speaking negatively about your brand on social media and to their friends. They're tearing down your company while you're trying to build it. These are staggering numbers. We need to pay attention to these numbers. This is what I would call a significant problem, and I think it is the #1 barrier to growth in business today. Einstein said, "The significant problems that we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking that we were at when we created them." There's a lot in that sentence, but what he's saying is that we as business owners, as leaders, as managers, as the boss, we are creating this massive disengagement problem, and we're doing it with a level of thinking. What does he mean by that? What I think, when I hear level of thinking, I think of a mindset or a paradigm. And I heard a great analogy once of comparing a paradigm to a map. So if we're here in Gainesville, but we've got a map of New York, what's going to happen? We're going to be lost. And a lot of people think, well, maybe we should go to work on our methods. So they work harder, they work faster. Maybe if we get a bicycle or we rent a car, then we can get around the city faster. We'll be able to find this building better. The problem is we have the wrong map. All that's going to happen is we're just going to get lost faster. And you might think, well, maybe it's my attitude, so I'm going to go to work on positive mental thinking, and I'm going to study that and learn it and get psyched up. We've got the wrong map. We're still going to be lost. We're just not going to care that we're lost because we have such a great attitude about the whole thing. The problem is not the attitude. The problem is not the methods. The problem is the mindset, the paradigm. So what is the paradigm, the mindset that is predominant in business today that is causing so many people to be disenfranchised and disengaged from what they're doing? I call it the boss mentality, and it comes out of the industrial age. Now, the industrial age brought a lot of really good things like process automation and efficiency and mass production, but it was an incomplete paradigm. It was a thing paradigm, a paradigm of things, not people. And it was incomplete, and it worked for the time, but it doesn't work today. We need to grow the paradigm. We need to have a new mindset. You know, the management technique of that day was what they called top-down, where the people in positions of authority, people with titles, they called all the shots, and everybody else just did what they're told. You know, the motivation technique of that day was called carrot and sticking. So you had the chance of getting the carrot if you produce, but the threat of getting the stick if you don't. Does that work? Yes, it works, but it doesn't produce the kind of inspired, engaged people that we need to grow our businesses to the next level. There's only so much we can do as entrepreneurs before we hit our limit. And then we need other people on our team to help us build the business. And they have to be engaged. They have to be as inspired as we are. They have to care as much as we do. So how do we get away from this mindset that sees people as things? How do we inspire greatness in our people? How do we tap into the higher resources of our team? The 5 S's of inspiration. And if you have a pen, write these down. These are the 5 S's of inspiration so that we can inspire greatness in our people, so that we can grow our businesses beyond what we could do on our own. And it all starts, it's a pyramid, because one layer builds upon the other. Now, the industrial age saw people as just one dimension. And really, there's 4 parts to the human nature. There's 4 needs, 4 capacities, 4 intelligences. And if you've ever read Maslow, he studied human motivation. He said that if we do not take care of the base needs, if we constantly frustrate those base needs of a human being, then that base need will become the #1 motivator for that person. And I travel all over speaking to groups of entrepreneurs and business owners, and I always ask them, what motivates your people? And I always get the same answer: money, right? Well, money is very important. It's so important that we put it at the base, and we call it salary. The first S is salary, and it takes care of the needs of the body. The need to feed oneself, to clothe your family and feed your family and put a roof over your head. It's so important that we put that at the base. We need to take care of it. Money's like oxygen. If we pumped all the oxygen out of this room, how many of you would stick around for the rest of the seminar? Not many. You'd be motivated by the need for oxygen. You'd be running for the door. But now that it's here, how much does it motivate you? Not at all. So how can we take money off the table as the #1 motivator? We say pay fairly. Okay, so pay what everyone else in the industry is getting. So it's a fair pay, and then more importantly, provide a career path. Make sure that people on your team know that they can grow within your company, that they're not in a dead-end job. That's critically important. So many jobs feel like a dead-end job. We teach our people what certification and training they need to do to move within the organization so that they can grow, because we want to hire ambitious people. We mow lawns for a living. We mow a lot of lawns. But we don't want people that are just have life's ambition to push a lawnmower. We want people that are willing to start there. That's where I started. But I hire people that want to mow lawns, but their ambition is to take my job and be the CEO. Those are the right people for the team. Those are the people you need to look for. So take money off the table as being the #1 motivator by paying fairly and providing a career path. And when you do that, that's the minimum in order to keep people around. The problem is most companies stop there. And if you only give the minimum, that's all you're going to get. So people have more than just a body that they need to clothe and feed. They also have a heart. And for the heart, a business can provide security, what we call security. That's a great culture. That's a place that people want to be at, a place where they feel a sense of belonging, a sense of care, love, a place where they can thrive, where they're not bullied. So many companies operate on what could be called a culture of fear, where people are afraid and they become insecure, and it drives them back to the money level where they say, I'll stick around in this toxic culture if they pay me enough, right? If the money's good enough, I'll stick around here. But at some point, no amount of money is good enough to stick around in the toxic culture. We have so many people that come and actually take a pay cut to come work for us because they want to be a part of our culture, and they know they can grow within it. So take care of the needs of the heart. And out of the heart, what do you get? You get passion. You get care. That culture that you create for your team, they in turn will create for your customers. Whatever environment you create for your team, they will create for your customers. So take care of the needs of the heart. Someone once said you can buy a person's arms, you can buy their backs, but you can't buy their heart. They have to volunteer that. And most companies are missing the power of what can come when someone puts their heart into what they do. But there's more to a human than just a body and a heart. They also have a mind. Let's look at the mind. For the mind, a business can give schooling, training, development. And so many people, they go to school, and in school you're learning all the time, and then you get into the workforce and you stop learning, you stop developing, you start doing things over and over again, and you kind of go brain dead, right? What are we doing as businesses to make sure that that deep desire, that need within every human being to continue to grow is being taken care of? We make sure that schooling is a way of life, not just an event. We make sure that we budget time on our calendars and budget in our financial budgets to make sure that schooling and growing and professional development is a way of life. And when you take care of that deep human need to grow intellectually, mentally, you get vision, you get creativity, you unleash, you tap into those innovative resources. Our businesses need to continually be improving. We have what we call a culture of continuous improvement, and that only works when everybody on the team is continually improving themselves, when they're developing, when they're reading. Events like this, budget for it, make sure you pay your people to grow, and then when they are growing, allow them to be involved and to use that knowledge that they've learned. It's one thing to say, go and learn a whole bunch of things, but then you never talk to them about it. Let them use it. So we let people that are mowing lawns be involved in studying and researching which machines we should be buying. These things are typically reserved for the boss, for the owner. Hand it out to your team members and allow them to do the research, to figure it out, to use what they've learned. You know, if you want involvement, then also give some authorship. Allow people to be involved in those decisions. But there's more to a human being than just a body, a heart, and a mind. Everybody also has a soul or a spirit that longs for significance, for purpose, for meaning. You know, if I passed away today, would anyone care? That's a longing in every human being. Would anyone remember me? Did I leave anything for my family, for my children? Even if I just help train somebody and pass on some knowledge to them, there's a sense of significance in that. What are we doing as business owners? When you're building out your businesses, make sure you take care of that need for significance. We have a thing that we adopted called the 1% model. We give 1% of our time, 1% of our product, 1% of our service to meaningful causes, to charity. So 1% of our time means every team member is able to go and spend about 20 hours a year, that's about 3 days, on the payroll donating to causes that are meaningful to them. This gives them a sense of significance so that the business is more than just paying your bills. It's much more. It takes care of all the needs of the human being. When you take care of the needs of the body, you get discipline, a disciplined workforce. When you take care of the needs of the heart, you get a passionate workforce, people that bleed your colors. You know, we have people that say, we bleed green and yellow, that's our colors. When you take care of the needs of the mind, you get vision. We heard about vision from the other speakers. You have people on your team who can see what you see. They can see past the struggles we're going through right now because I have a vision. When you take care of the needs of the spirit, the needs of the soul, you get all of that, but guided by conscience. And the fifth S of the 5 S's is what we call standards. Set high standards for yourself and for your business. Ethical standards, moral standards, quality standards, brand standards. When you set high standards, you attract people with high standards. Principles, values. These are things that attract people, like-minded people to your team. I'm going to share a story with you to end that inspires me, and I hope it inspires you. Our franchise in Connecticut, his name is Ken, met someone named Darla. Darla was a resident at one of our facilities that we maintain. And she had been recently diagnosed with a terrible disease. You can see she lost her leg to the disease. And she had been given 4 months to live. Now, she fell into the deepest despair. She lost all hope for life. It was so bad that she stopped taking her medications that would have helped prolong her life. She was so depressed, she couldn't even see her children. Her grandchildren lost a grandmother, even though she was there. And the grounds guys got together as a team earlier before they met Darla. They said, what are we going to do to be remarkable? And they, as a team, they said, we're going to smile and wave at every client and every tenant of every client. It doesn't cost us anything. And even if it doesn't make them happy, it's going to make us awful happy by smiling all day long. So they all agreed to do it. And they got to the facility Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock, and there was Darla, and they smiled and waved and went about their business. And she noticed it. She was sitting in the corner. And she thought, that's kind of weird. I wonder if they're going to do that next year. And it gave her something to live next week. She lived an extra week to find out if they would do that the next week. Sure enough, the grounds guys came in Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock, and they smiled and waved at Darla. This time she noticed it, and she kind of cracked a little smile. And sure enough, the next week they came back, and this time they smiled, and she waved back. And she started to get her spirit back, gave her something to live for. She started taking her medication again. She asked the nurse to help her put on makeup for Tuesday morning to be ready for the grounds guys when they show up. And she knocked on the window and asked if they would get her a grounds guys t-shirt, and they said sure, and they got her a t-shirt for the next week. Her grandchildren got their grandmother back. They could spend time with her. She got her countenance back. She lost that depression that was plaguing her. And so we do a final inspection after we mow every lawn, and it got to the point where they would wheel her around on her wheelchair to do the final inspection. So I heard about a year ago, Ken emailed me and he said Darla had finally succumbed to the disease and she had passed away. And her family asked her she asked her family to be buried with 3 things: her Yankees cap, her Bible, and her grounds guys t-shirt. And I thought, that is the purpose of our business. That is the purpose of business, to change lives, to do what you can to help people by caring. And don't grow your business just for the sake of growing. Grow your business with the right people to carry on what you believe as a company. So life is not a career, it's a mission. And I wish all of you the best in your missions.